Well, there's a few things a man should never run from, even if it cost him his life. One, reviewing Assault on Precinct 13. Damn it!
Covenant, calling Raven.
Payback time.
Come with me if you want to live.
You just don't turn it off!
Assault on Precinct 13 tells the story of a highway patrol officer, two criminals, and a station secretary defend a defunct Los Angeles precinct office against a siege by a bloodthirsty street gang. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. You're watching BACKTRACK Cinema, where we talk movies of the past that you know and love. Today, we'll be going through my review of Assault on Precinct 13, written and directed by John Carpenter, starring Stoker, Darwin Joston, and Laurie Zimmer. I am fairly new to this movie. I only seen this one about a couple years ago and was very impressed. I saw the remake first and really dug the story and all that. Then I find out it's a remake of a John Carpenter film. I love what John Carpenter does with this. I love the boundaries he pushes. I think John Carpenter really shines when his hands are on all aspects of the film. He writes in this, he directs, he produces, he does the score, and he uses tension, suspense, atmosphere to really tell his story rather than a real abundance of dialogue. You know, it's a simple story, simple setup. He was really much inspired by Night of the Living Dead mixed with a Rio Bravo. He's a big Howard Hawks fan, so you really see all his influence coming in. Now, I get more of a Night of the Living Dead vibe out of this movie, and I have seen Rio Bravo. I do see the influence there. What a refreshing way to tell something like Night of the Living Dead, but more of an action thriller where they're held up at this, this abandoned precinct. Bad guys in these gangs don't really have any personality. They're just like coming through the windows, trying to crash through, trying to get this one guy in this precinct. And I just love that. I just love that, kind of really refreshed storytelling. And yeah, this is a good film, man. I really enjoyed this one. I really like the aspect of this story about two people who have to really work together to survive a situation. One being Napoleon, who's this, guy on death row who they're transferring. They have to stop the bus because there's a dude sick, and so they put these guys in the holding cell, and all these guys attack this Precinct 13, this gang, right? And I like that. I like how throughout the story, they have to trust each other, and at the same time, through the whole movie, there's enough tension in there where it's like, well, is this guy gonna turn on the cop, or is he just gonna, or is this gonna be an honor code? That they learn to respect each other, which they do. There learns to be a real good respect for, outlaw and cop, you know what I mean? And that's a very Western thing, it feels like a Western too, you know what I mean? Just in a modern setting. While you're watching this flick for the first time, you're introduced to all these characters, but you don't know how they're going to be entwined yet. And yes, we see this kind of storytelling all the time where you're like, what does this have to do with this? What does this have to do with this? Time will tell. This is where it's kind of like an exploitation film and almost like a death wish revenge aspect to it. We have these gangs going around causing trouble. We're introduced as father and daughter who are just, driving around. And this is where Carpenter does a what the fuck to us, man, where this little girl goes to get ice cream and then this thug shoots her. Holy shit, did you really do that, John? In 1976? Wow. Then this father goes down and tries to hunt down this gang, which eventually, brings him to this abandoned precinct. So you see where all the storylines are coming together. Then we're introduced to our main lead, Ethan Bishop, who's this cop who's, having a pretty dull day, has to go to this precinct just to watch over it and all that. And there's some history with the precinct he has, we find out. But you feel like he's looking for some action. He wants more excitement on the job. He wants to do a good job. Boy, does he ever get it, because he bites off a lot more than he can chew, and he shows a lot of leadership, gets them out of a hot situation. Like I said with Napoleon, this guy on death row, they learn to trust each other. There's a little relationship there. So he's a great lead and a great character to follow. Laurie Zimmer, I thought, was really good in this. One of the secretaries at this precinct. She's got this almost cold, calculated look, like a very unemotional look to her. She'll glance a smile here and there. I really like how Carpenter doesn't waste her and, uses her as part of the action too. And there's some really freaking sexual chemistry between her and Napoleon. And Napoleon Wilson. What a cool fucking cat this guy is. A guy on death row, You know what I mean? He's a badass, and they learn to trust him by giving him a gun, and he fights back and defends this police station. The dude has some of the best lines in the whole movie.
Got a smoke?
That's enough to grow hair on a rock.
Well, there are two things a man should never run from, even if they cost him his life. One is a man who's helpless and can't run with you.
You're pretty fancy, Wilson.
I have moments.
I really love the moment at the end where they walk out of the police station, and our main cop tells them, will you walk out with me? And then you got cops in there trying to take Napoleon away, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, the Ethan Bishop's like, get out of here. And they kind of like, John Carpenter implies that they walk out together. And man, that's just a really cool way to end the movie, I thought. Great cinematography in this movie too. Lots of light and shadows, knowing when to keep things in the dark. So when they're first getting attacked at this precinct, they can't see anything. And the cinematography really shows that. So you always get a certain feel, a certain mood, a certain look, certain atmosphere to Carpenter films. You always know when you're watching one. All John Carpenter's movies, they almost feel like they have a bigger budget than they actually have. And some great action sequences when they're defending the police station. The main one I really like is when they're all coming, the thugs are crashing through all the windows, and they got shotguns and handguns and just blowing these guys out windows like Night of the Living Dead, like zombies coming in. And it feels very video game like to me, like I'm at a level of an old video game or something. You know what I mean? You're sitting there, you're crossing them up, shooting them out windows and shit like that. I absolutely freaking love it. It gets intense. It gets wild. For 1976, it's a great, great, great scene. And John Carpenter, the master of simple scores, he does it again here. It's got a really slow driving feel, really low end, you know what I mean? And it just drives everything. It's simple, just like what he does in Halloween. The simplicity of his scores is it's effective. That's how you get an effective score, is the simplicity of it all. Assault on Precinct 13 is definitely in a regular rotation of Carpenter films. I really enjoy it. So I'm going to give Assault on Precinct 13 from 1976 a solid B. But what about you guys? Let me know in the comments below what you think of Assault on Precinct 13. Do you like it? Don't you like it? We'll have a good conversation in those comments. I thank you all again for watching this review. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I will see you next time, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.